Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a PMDG 777 beta tester. Welcome to the first flight with the 777-200LR, and we are going to do exactly what the plane's been built for. We're going to take it on an ultra long haul. Namely, we are going to fly from Auckland, New Zealand over to Doha in Qatar. This is going to be about a 17-hour and 15-minute flight, taking about 8,000 nautical miles, with quite a bit of headwind, making it even a little bit more interesting. But before we start, a quick message from today's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on that can not just do your standard IFR A to B flight, but also things like ACAS, CPDLC, and even a cabin crew simulation, then Say Intentions may just about be for you. We'll be using them throughout today's video for both the ATC as well as the data link and the cabin crew. So if you like what you're about to hear, then be sure to check them out using the link in the pinned comment or the video description below. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's flight. The main difference we can see between the 777-200LR and the 200ER is the rated wingtip that you can see just about on the top over here, which is a lot more aerodynamic than the wing of the 200ER. We also have higher rated engines installed with the GE90-110 delivering 110,000 pounds of thrust versus the 95,000 pounds of thrust that you have on the 200ER, therefore giving the airplane quite a bit of additional performance, which we are absolutely going to need though for carrying a weight like this one. The max takeoff weight of the 200LR is just shy of 350 tons, so almost as high as that of the 300ER, and therefore it does need those engines. But believe me, we're going to have a lot of fun with those. Alright, for now though, let's go into the flight deck and start working on our flight. And with this, welcome to the 200LR cockpit. You can see it's quite similar to the other 777s. However, it is a little bit newer, a couple of refinements, but only smaller ones. Alright, so let's get started with today's flight. First step, as always, turn on the ADRU and cross-check our operating quantities. So we do have sufficient oil quantity on board. We do have sufficient hydraulic quantity on board. Let's go ahead and test our oxygen masks. And this is one of those things that we will not just have to do as per standard left and right, but we also got to do it in the back over here because we have a complement of 4 crew members in the cockpit, 2 captains and 2 first officers for a flight of this length. Now, with that done, let's do a recall up here and check that any of those ICAS messages is actually expected, and this is looking quite good. Now let's go down into our electronic flight bag and request our SimBrief flight plan. With that done, we can head over into our actual flight plan itself and just go over the most important aspects of today's flight. So, as you can see, the flight is so long that SimBrief isn't even able to give us a proper overview chart for today's flight. We can use the significant weather charts, though, to get a little bit of an idea. So we're departing Auckland, we've got a turbulent area and a couple of thunderstorms over here. Then we're going to cross Australia all the way up northbound. We are going to fly along the Indian Ocean, and then basically over to the south of Sri Lanka, which is where we are going to fly through the Intertropical Convergence Zone. This is where you'll typically find the largest thunderstorms on the planet. So looking at this and looking at the amount of CBs forecast up to flight level 500 over here, 470 down here, 420 up here, we may want to take a little bit of extra fuel there just to be on the safe side. Finally, once we've passed this area, we are going to head over through Oman and the United Arab Emirates into Qatar. Now let's continue having a look at our weather scenarios. So we're departing Auckland with light northeasterly winds, no clouds detected, temperature 10 degrees. Doha, clear skies 38 degrees, and finally Bahrain, clear skies 40 degrees. So beautiful flying conditions basically. Now, for our flight plan itself, we are departing Auckland at 01:15, so that's going to be in about 23 minutes. And with that we're going to arrive about 10 minutes behind the schedule, so we may want to fly a little bit faster, but you'll see in a few moments we already have cost index 80, and there isn't all that much we can actually do about it. Now, for our flight levels, we start in 300 and we finish in 400 throughout these 17 hours. And now looking into the fuel figures, 36.5 including taxi is basically the standard. Now, flights like these are kind of known to see last minute zero fuel weight changes, so let's prepare for that. 1,000 kilos more costs us 519 kilos extra fuel. And now look at this, if we fly faster we can make up 21 minutes, but that's going to be really expensive. So those 2,739 kilos of fuel will easily cost almost 6,000 US dollars. So yeah, is that worth it? Maybe. I would say that including the zero fuel weight corrections and maybe flying a bit faster, let's take 2,000 kilos extra, and that should be absolutely fine. So going down here, we've got 36.5, let's make it 38.5, or rather 138.5. So we can import this, then go down onto the precise loading, and we can enter that down here, so 138,500. And look at that, that's 95% of the fuel capacity of the aircraft for an 8,000 mile flight. Alright, so with that out of the way, we are, for now, done down here in our EFB. So let's start with our pre-flight procedures down here on the FMS. Now, I am going to use my WinWing Boeing CDU, the PFP7, to do all the inputs. So if you're wondering why you don't see my mouse moving while I'm doing inputs, that's why. But I will mention whatever I do so that you guys will be able to follow along. Alright, so let's start right down here. We go into the FMC. We cross-check that we've got a 777-200.2 is the 200LR, GE90 110 engine, and the nav database is up to date. Then we go on and copy and paste the GPS position. Then we can do the route request from SimBrief and select that. Alright, this may take a little while now for everything to uplink, so let's take that time and go up here into the airport charts, and we can pin the airport charts themselves as well as the parking stand charts down here. The SID is going to be the OSRAP to Papa, we can pin that as well, and the route has arrived, so let's hit load. Going to take a little while once again. In the meantime, let's hit the com page and we can request our ATIS to know for sure which airport we're going to depart from. So, November Zulu Alpha Alpha. And let's enter that in here and send the ATIS request. Alright, so new messages. Let's see, Auckland, wind 110 at 4, runway 23 left. So it's going to be a slight tailwind from departure, but that's fine. And the QNH is 1016. Alright, cool. So let's go departure arrival, runway 23 left, and we'll have the OSRAP to Papa with the MADEP transition. Then we can go back to the index and arrivals. We're going to land on 34 left. And let's see which arrival is planned. It's the Tovox 1 Romeo. So let's find that one. Here it is, Tovox 1 Romeo. And we'll take the IMCAT transition. Alright, activate and execute. Well, let's go down to our legs and cross-check what we've actually got down here. So, we are departing. Let's bring up the nav display and the plan mode. On the runway track towards Irzip, then via Lengdu and Osrap with a right turn to Bardos, and then via Bogun to Madep. Is there any published initial climb? Not really, so that's going to be by air traffic control. And apart from that, there is nothing special in here. ATC requirements following aircraft speed restriction supply to Lengdu, and that is for a jet aircraft category Delta minimum 170. Okay, that will not be a problem on the 777. Contact approach 124.3 as soon as practical prior to 1500 or as instructed. Okay, excellent. And let's bring this back to the map. That enables the route data menu where we can load our wind data. So let's request this. Going to take a little while until that arrives, because we have a fairly long route. In the meantime, QNH 1016. Okay, here's the weather. And while we're waiting for that to uplink, let's set the QNH. Always a good idea to set that as early as possible. Alright, cool. And then we can go to the descent forecast page and wait for the descent forecast uplink to arrive as well. Here we go. Loads. Alright, cool. From here on, let's continue to the progress page. We got 7,952 nautical miles, and that's approximately the same that the flight plan has as well. So, the VORs are automatically tuned. For the fix info, November Zulu Alpha Alpha goes in here with the 25-mile ring for MSA awareness. And then VNAV page, transition altitude 13,000, which is checked against the chart. Now let's go to the init page and see what we're gonna get down here. So, alternate is 3,000, final reserve 3,000 as well, so we can take 6 tons of final reserve. Cruise altitude starts in level 300, cost index 80, minimum temperature minus 44, cruise CG 30, step size will be 2,000 feet. Now for the takeoff page, next page, noise abatement procedure number 1 is cross-checked down here. The last thing for us to do now is to go over the route page and cross-check that all our entries are correct in here. So we got November Zulu Alpha Alpha towards Oscar Tango Hotel Hotel, Qatari 85 November, and that's the first thing that's incorrect down there. So Quebec Tango Romeo 85 November. Alright. Now, I should go over all this, cross-check that everything is correct. What I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier is just to check if there's any discontinuities along the legs page. And as you can see, there are none, so that's perfectly fine. Alright, cool. Then we can leave this on the performance init page. We're going to leave you on the route data page. And we could go ahead and enter our step climbs already. And yeah, tell you what, why not? So NoNet flight level 320. So 320S. Then the next is going to be at Gollum, level 340. So let's find that. Level 340S. Then we continue towards Tatot at flight level 360. And there it is. So 360S. And then we continue via NSAT flight level 380. Lots of waypoints over here, and we must have missed it. NSAT, there it is. Flight level 380. With a step climb, and then Ketal flight level 400. And lastly, we have a descent at Umibu to flight level 340. So let's enter that one as well. Alright, execute. So we don't get any performance predictions yet. That's because we haven't entered the zero fuel weight, because we're still waiting for the final figures. And that's everything we need down here. So up here, let's go ahead and do a quick setup. There's not much that we actually need to do over here. So, VOR, airport, traffic, left and right. Flight directors are coming on. Then we can move over here. Checklists, reset all. Comms, we already have the ATIS, QNH 1016. We can set that down here. And then we can hit cancel. And that's it. Alright, and on your side, you're going to get the same sort of a setup. Lovely. Auto brake RTO. Now let's get down to our frequencies. So, pinned, airport, airport chart. And up here we've got Auckland delivery 128.2. Park and brake set, by the way, and then Auckland ground 1 to 1.9. Alright, like this. On the right hand side, we'll take 1 to 1.5. And then the ATIS frequency is 1270. Okay, cool. So initially we'll transmit on the flight interphone only. We'll turn everything up over here. And since we have 4 pilots on board, you are going to be able to listen to everything as well. Departure frequency down here, I do believe it's 1201 that Say Intentions uses down here. That's pre-selected. And you get the same setup on this side. Transponder goes to above. Squawk 2000. And of course it should be on standby. Cabin interphone down here, and with that we are done with our flight deck setup. Okay, so I suggest before we are going to before we are going to do our briefing, let's go ahead and request our departure clearance. We've got ATIS information Romeo on board. So flight information, departure clearance request, that's ATIS Romeo. And we're parking at gate 3. Facility will be November Zulu Alpha Alpha. And we'll call this good afternoon. Alright, so Qatari 85 November, facility November Zulu Alpha Alpha, from Auckland to Doha, ATIS Romeo, gate 3, good afternoon, sent. Lovely. So the clearance request is on the way, then I suppose we are going to say hello to our passengers up next. Ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel in the name of Qatar Airways. Welcome on board flight 921 from Auckland to Doha. Today's flight time has been calculated at 17 hours and 15 minutes. Expecting mostly smooth ride with some occasional turbulence. For this reason, please do observe the fasten seatbelt sign. And in any case, keep your seatbelts fastened when you're in your seat, even when the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off. For the time being, thank you very much for being on board. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us, and we will get back to you with the latest weather when we start our approach to Doha. Alright, let's see. Request being processed. Stand by. Thank you. So, I think we're pretty much ready for our briefing. The only thing that I'm still waiting for is the ATIS. The clearance, which should be there any moment now. In the meantime, let's see if we can already convince GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. Start the APU. And then let's just start with the performance. Okay, so zero fuel is... I think that's our clearance. Yeah, here it is. Okay, clear to Doha, OSRAP to Papa departure. So routes. Runway 23 left is expected and entered. We've got the OSRAP to Papa departure. Maintain 4000. And that's set. Departure 1201 pre-selected. And squawk 4625. So 4625. Excellent. So clearance is entered and checked. Happy with this. So let's go ahead and cancel that, and then we can start with our performance, please. So perf init, zero fuel weight 192.8. And that's a gross weight of 331.3, which checks against the load sheet. Okay, so let's continue on the performance tool. Departing Auckland, runway 23 left. We'll keep the automatic runway length. Takeoff weight, let's calculate 331. So let's see about the CG again. Takeoff 25. And then for the weather, the wind is 110 at 4. The temperature is 9 degrees and the QNH 1016. Alright, calculate. And that gives us a flat 15 takeoff at 36 degrees. So 36, and that's 99.1% and 1. Close enough, that's because the APU hasn't started yet. So flaps 15, CG 25. And the speeds 163, 168, 173, and that's all within 1 knot, so we can accept those. Alright, trim 6 units, matches with the FMC, and that's it. Thank you. Alright, cool. So that good stuff is done. Let's see. We'll keep the airport chart over here. That should be sufficient for taxi. Alright, great. So, are you ready for the departure briefing? We're departing from Auckland, runway 23 left, flaps 15, OSRAP to Papa departure, initial climb 4000, MSA 2800, so 3000 basically is safe for us. Extra fuel and time, we got 2000 kilos, but we are 2 tons heavier than what the flight plan says, so basically 1000 kilos, which is about 10 minutes. Alright, no hotspots for our taxi routing. It's a fairly easy airport, even though it's a fairly good looking one as well by Flightbeam, but it's a fairly easy taxi routing. Stock margin for rejected takeoff a few meters only. Engine outset straight at 25 miles, climbing 3000, which is going to keep us safe. We are going to be overweight, but we have a long runway and an immediate return should absolutely be possible. Now, if we need to make an immediate return, we'll do the overweight landing checklist, and in any case, unless the airplane is on fire and we really need to make it a traffic pattern, unless that is the case, we are just going to follow the EOCID, pick up a holding, work the checklists, and then we decide on the further course of action. Okay, so apart from that, I've got nothing special, nothing non-standard over here. Do you see any threats? No, me neither. One last item that I have, and that's the flap 15 takeoff. We'll book that under the miscellaneous part. Flap 15 is not something we do every day on the 777, so we just got to be a little bit careful that we actually select the correct flap setting for departure and that we retract them correctly. So 15.5.1 up for the flap retraction. Do we have any questions on that? No? Wonderful. So that's our briefing complete. So then, pre-flight checklist please. Oxygen, tested 100%. Flight instruments, heading 098, altimeter 1016, reading 60, set left, set right. Pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so let's go ahead and prepare the airplane. Ground from flight deck. Go ahead. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed and the bypass pin is installed. Yeah, we're working on it. Can we disconnect the external power, please? Yes, sir, you're clear to disconnect. Alright, park and brake is set. That removes the chocks. Doors are all closed. Arm all. And that's looking wonderful. Alright, cool. Then let's call ATC and get our clearance. Auckland delivery, Qatari 85 November Heavy, fully ready for pushback and startup. Is that the right frequency?
Qatari 85 Auckland clearance, you are on the clearance frequency. Please contact ground on 121.9er for pushback and startup instructions.
Yeah, that's because you need to give us a handoff, but we call 121.9er now. Qatari 85 November. Okay. Ground from flight deck. Can we pressurize the hydraulics, please? Yes, sir. Alright. So, right side first. Okay, we need 6 units of trim. What are the reverses doing? That's better. Alright then, before start checklist down to beacon. So, flight deck door is closed and locked. MCP, V2 173, heading 231, altitude 4000. Takeoff speeds, V1 163, VR 168, V2 173. CDU pre-flight completed, trim 6 units, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing is completed, holding a beacon. Auckland crowd, Qatari 85 November Heavy, request pushback and startup.
Qatari 85, pushback and startup approved. Face south.
Pushback and startup approved, facing south, Qatari 85 November. Okay, before start checklist complete. From flight deck. You clear to push and start, facing south, park and brake set. Roger, release brakes. Brakes released. Thank you, start and pushback, stand by for engines. And here we go, pushing at 0113, which is 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Love it. So my friends, while we're pushing, you may have noticed a little difference in the traffic you see today. So we are using the traffic from Say Intentions AI, and as you know, they are using a different, or they're not bringing their own models, but much rather they are using pre-existing databases. Until now, we have always used the FSLTL database, but I have changed that. Now that Just Flight have released FS Traffic for Flight Simulator 2024, I have installed those models and removed the FSLTL models. The advantage of this is that using the FS Traffic models, you do not lose your custom sounds when you're flying in complex airports, as you used to with FSLTL. However, unfortunately, all the reversers are deployed when Say Intentions is controlling an FS Traffic model. That's something I've reported to the developers. I do hope they are going to work on that, but I much rather see some open reversers than lose my custom sounds. So that's the logic behind this. Alright, so with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and start our engines. Down from flight deck. We're ready for engine start, sequence will be left and right, and we're starting the left engine now.
Please leave all luggage on board and proceed to the nearest exit. Additional life vests are located under the seat. To use them, pull the vest out, place it over your head, and pull the straps around your waist. Inflate the vest by pulling the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a pleasant flight. I will now inform the captain that the cabin is ready for departure.
Alright, that looks and sounds well. And the ramp agent was once again run over. Let's add another one of those aircraft beneath the window. Okay, and we have a good start on the left engine, starting the right engine. So, push complete, set brakes. Brake set. So, are they doing something down here? Or are they just waiting? Here we go, that's better. Where is he going? Another one committing suicide down here? Mate, you really need to get some help. Alright, in any case, I think we can say we got 2 good engine starts. So clear to disconnect, show me the pin in front, please, and have a good day. Bye-bye. So, flaps 15. Let's see. Yeah, that looks correct. Wonderful. Okay, ready for the flight controls. And let's go.
New
Full up.
Zealand 543 contact tower on
Down.
118.7.
Neutral.
Over the tower.
Full up.
New Zealand 543.
Full right.
5 November request pushback.
Neutral.
Qatari 85 November. Pushback.
Recall checked.
Qatari 85 November ready to taxi.
Wait a moment. Why is
Qatari
there...
85 November.
That's
Taxi
our
to
call time.
runway 23 left via Juliet Alpha. Cross runway 23 left at your
Where is
discretion.
he? Over there.
23 left via Juliet Alpha. Cross runway 23 left, our discretion, Qatari 85 November.
So this is a pretty nice proof of the level of the traffic that you get over here with say intentions. That Qatari 85 November is basically exactly our flight, and it's scheduled to depart at 15. It's 18 right now, so that's pretty good, isn't it? The only problem is that from now on we'll have that same call sign twice on every frequency. That's probably not going to be as good. Alright, before taxi checklist. RTIs? Auto? Recall? Checked. Flight controls? Checked. Ground equipment? Cleared. Before taxi checklist complete. Qatari 85 November Heavy, request taxi.
Qatari 85, taxi to runway 23 left via Foxtrot Kilo Juliet Kilo Alpha Alpha 1.
Taxi runway 23 left via Foxtrot Kilo Juliet Kilo Alpha Alpha 1 Qatari 85. So listen to that, they just refer to us as Qatari 85. That's fine for me, I'll adopt the new call sign. Alright, so Fox Kilo Juliet Kilo Alpha Alpha 1. That basically means Fox is over here, then down on Kilo Juliet Alpha Alpha 1. Okay, great. Taxi routing is understood. Brake released. Clear on the right side. Clear on the left side. Let's go. Heavy airplane, 330 tons. A little bit of thrust to make it move. And here we go. Okay, everything is clear on the right hand side. Those aircraft, well, that one is not beyond the line. So let's see if we can actually get past this, or if that's gonna cost us a wing. I think it's gonna work. But this is where you should stop and call for a follow me to have a very close look at the wing. But yeah, no problem. Okay, lovely. So next is going to be a left-hand turn. So onto Kilo. Which is over here. So we continue via Kilo. The only thing that I don't get with this taxi clearance is how we're supposed to get on a Juliet from Kilo. Because Kilo, as you can see over here, leads us straight on Alpha. And if they wanted us to turn into Juliet here, they should have included Bravo in that taxi clearance. But I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna do it. So now we had our chunk of Kilo. Let's go on to Juliet, which is over here. So, someone's landing over there, huh? Ah, on the ground already. Okay. Alright, so let's review our takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff of runway 23 left, flaps 15, noise abatement procedure number 2. The takeoff speeds will be 163, 168 and 173, which is set. Our SID takes us straight ahead. We contact departure below 1500 on 120.1, which is the frequency instructed by ATC in our IFR clearance. Apart from that, engine outs go straight ahead for 25 miles, climbing 3000, which keeps us safe above the MSA of 2800 feet. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? No? Lovely.
New Zealand 429er contact tower on 118.7.
Switching to tower, New Zealand 429er.
Alright, so that's gonna be him. So we have the other Qatar in front of us. And then we are gonna be in line. We haven't received the cabin ready signal yet, or it came while we were outside. That's also a possibility that we just didn't notice. And he is going rather slow, unfortunately. Probably still waiting for his cabin as well. Okay, he should be on tower. Hopefully gonna get his clearance momentarily. Yeah, he's lining up. Great. Qatari 85 November Heavy, request a taxi via Alpha 1 Alpha. That's basically the full length, while the one in front of us is probably gonna turn into Alpha 1.
Qatar 85 negative. Taxi to runway 23 left via Alpha 1.
Taxiing via Alpha 1, Qatari 85. Okay, so be it. Is the AI flying a freighter over here? That's surely what it looks like. Okay, so they instructed us to take position right behind him. So that's what we are gonna do then. And that also means I am going to stop the airplane
Qatari 85, contact tower on 118.7, so long.
118.7, Qatari 85.
Qantas 144, ready for pushback. Qantas 144, pushback approved. Push and start
So
approved.
1187 and 1201 for the departure. So it looks like the other one is still holding, huh? I'm going to wait until he has clearance before I'm going to call, just to avoid any doubts in regards to what clearance is for what aircraft. So, nothing coming from the left. Sometimes the AI does taxi via Bravo over here. Right in the jet blast. But I know that you guys like the smell, so let's just position the aircraft over here. And he is going. Lovely. Auckland Tower, good afternoon, Qatari 85, ready.
Qatari 85 Heavy, Auckland Tower, roger. Ready for your request.
Yeah, no request. We're ready in sequence. Okay, so he's lining up. We do not have such clearance, so let's...
429er, contact departure. Over to departure, New Zealand 429er.
Okay, we're gonna stop over here. Wait for the company to depart. And I'm fairly sure we've missed the cabin ready call, so let's just assume that it was given. Before takeoff checklist? Before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, so the company should be departing any moment. And once they are, I'm going to call ready. Okay, they're going. Qatari 85 Heavy ready for departure.
Qatari 85, runway 23 left, hold short, 777 on the runway.
Holding short 23 left, Qatari 85. On TCAS it doesn't look like they have any arrivals. Alright, and he's going. So he could have lined us up
Qatari
already.
85 heavy, runway 23 left, winds 120 at 4, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 23 left, cleared for takeoff, Qatari 85 Heavy. Alright, cabin crew, prepare for departure. Okay, there is no more checklist to be read, and we are cleared for takeoff.
Approaching 23 left.
That is intentional. So the approach area is clear, and man, this looks beautiful here, doesn't it? They've really done that one well. Okay, that's been 2 minutes since the previous one departed, so cleared for takeoff.
On
Let's
runway
go.
23 left.
Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Thrust set.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1.
Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. LNAV VNAV. Let's turn autopilot on, and then they set as early as possible below 1500 so we can call departure straight away. Flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Auckland departure Qatari 85 Heavy passing 1500, climbing 4000. Flaps 1.
Qatari
Speed check.
85 heavy, Auckland departure, radar contact.
Flaps 1. So, getting fairly close to the overspeed scenario, but that's normal at these weights, and flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up.
Qatari 85 heavy, Auckland departure, climb flight level 200.
Climb flight level 200, Qatari 85 Heavy. Set, 200 checked. VNAV. And I'll open the speed window slightly here, 260. That should be a little bit nicer, just in case there is some turbulence, as I don't want to go below the up speed. Alright, so the flaps are up. Then let's do the after takeoff checklist, please. And after takeoff checklist is complete.
Qatari 85, contact Christchurch, control on 123.6.
123.6, Qatari 85. Cross-search control Qatari 85 heavy passing 4,500, climbing level 200.
Qatari 85 November, Christchurch control. Identified. Good afternoon, Auckland QNH 1015.
1015, Qatari 85 November. Okay, so, set QNH. QNH 1015, cross-check passing 5,600 now. Okay, fuel imbalance. And indeed, there's a ton of difference between the two sides. Okay, in that case, fuel imbalance non-normal checklist, your radios. So let's see, condition, there is a fuel imbalance between the main tanks. Objective, to decide if a fuel leak is suspected and balance fuel. If an engine has low fuel flow and unusual engine indications, the fuel imbalance message may show due to an engine malfunction instead of a fuel leak. Well, let's check that. So, fuel flow is definitely normal.
Qatari 85 November, climb flight level 250.
Climb flight level 250, Qatari 85 November. Set, 250 checked. Okay, so that's not the case. The fuel imbalance message may be caused by an engine fuel leak. A fuel leak should be suspected if one or more of the following are true. The total fuel remaining on ICAS is less than that plant fuel remaining. Well, doesn't look too bad. An engine has excessive fuel flow. That's not the case. They're both equal. One main tank is abnormally low. Yeah, well, that seems to be the case. I mean, it only seems to draw from the right-hand tanks. Okay, on the progress page 2, the totalizer is less than the calculated fuel. Let's see, progress, next page. So, totalizer and calculated are equal. Okay, so the calculated fuel in the totalizer value at engine start minus fuel used. Fuel used is calculated using the engine fuel flow sensors. Okay, that's copied. So, fuel leak is suspected. Honestly, this is looking good. This is looking good. I do not suspect a fuel leak, especially since the left tank isn't reducing. By the way, we've passed 100. Let's close the speed window. And just do this. We'll keep our passengers seated for the time being. So, fuel leak is suspected? No. So, fuel crossfeed switch either on. So, fuel crossfeed on. I think we've got the reason down here. Let's just continue down. Left main tank quantity is low. No, that is not the case. So, right main tank quantity is low. Yes, that is the case. Right fuel pump switches aft and forward both off. This allows fuel from the higher quantity tank to feed both engines. Okay, so we'll turn the right side off. And then we also have to turn off the left center pump, otherwise it's just going to be the center tank feeding. So now it's the left tank feeding both sides. Okay, inhibited checklist, fuel pump right aft, fuel pump right forward. And as you can see, those don't have the box next to them. Okay, so, next up, when fuel balancing is complete, we'll turn all the pumps back on and the fuel
Qatari
crossfeed
85
switches
November,
off.
climb flight level 290.
Qatari 85 November, climbing level 290. Okay, set, 290 checked. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I know what happened. When I turned on the pumps, I forgot the right center pump. Therefore, the left center pump was feeding the left engine, but the right engine was fed from the right wing tank. And that is what caused the imbalance. Well, shit happens. But nothing we couldn't solve, so nothing to worry about. Okay, set standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 137, now. Alright, so, we're above 100, we have already turned the lights off. This does honestly not look very turbulent, so let's release our passengers as well. I'm gonna keep the checklists open down here, and in the meantime let's go down into the FMS and see what we got. So, optimum flight level 295, maximum 324, recommended 260. I disagree with that. I'd say let's go to level 300 and then next step climb is in 1,000 miles. That should be absolutely fine. Okay. Alright, so basically the engine or the two tanks are within 1,000 kilos from one another already, so the balancing is more or less complete already. I'm just waiting a little bit further. Let's wait until the left tank is at 30 tons. Then when we turn the pumps on, there will always be a little bit of lag in the fuel quantity indications. So yeah, I'm fairly sure we will more or less be balanced. And honestly, 500 kilos of imbalance or even a ton of imbalance is not really going to matter much on an airplane like this anyway. Alright, cool. So
Qatari
then
85 November, climb flight level 300.
Qatari 85 November, climb flight level 300. Set 300 checked. Right, great. Just to keep you in the loop as to why I'm using the 85 November call sign again, the other airplane has disappeared. You can see he's no longer here on the nav display, and ATC is calling us that way again, so that's totally fine with me. I can live with that. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much everything we had to do for the time being. Fuel balancing is getting into the region of being complete now, so let's go back and fix that configuration. So checklist, let's see, fuel imbalance, we were on page 5. So fuel balancing is complete. Basically, yes it is. Fuel pump forward and aft switches all on. So forward and aft all on. And then both fuel crossfeed switches off. So crossfeed switches both off. Now we should get another ICAS message. Look at that, fuel balanced. Alright, and that's the fuel imbalance non-normal checklist complete. So I would expect that in a few moments it is going to give us the fuel in center message, prompting us to turn on the center tank pump. So let's just do that now. And this time both of them are actually on. Alright, great. So last thing for us to do is to log on to CPDLC. So that's going to be ATC, log on status. Then let's just have a look at the en route chart. It's going to be hardly readable. November Zulu Zulu Charlie. You could just see it there for a moment. Actually, November Zulu Zulu Oscar for the Oceanic. That's fine. Okay. November Zulu Zulu Oscar. Lock onto that. Send. And with that, we are basically done with about everything. Let's remove the compact engine display again. Here we go. And then we've done everything we need to. So for the time being, just sit back, relax, enjoy the next 17 hours of flight, and then I see you all on the approach to Doha.
85 November. Heavy, Doha approach identified. Good evening. Expect the ILS runway 34 left approach into Hamad.
Expect ILS 34 left, Qatari 85 November Heavy. Alright, so we're expecting the ILS 34 left, that's what we've entered over here, and then I suppose we can go into a quick briefing. So, let's head over to the right hand side and go with it straight away. The approach will be eventually radar vectored ILS approach, runway 34 left, starting with a minimum of 229. The go around is as per the FMS, basically vectors, and finally extra fuel and time. We're up with 6.1, 6.0 is the diversion fuel, but we have no problems committing to land over here. So basically, final reserves are 3,000. That means being committed to land, we have eventually approximately half an hour extra here in Doha. Alright, thank you for that. So, for the approach itself.
November. Descend altitude 11,000, QNH 996.
Maintain 11,000, QNH 996, Qatari 85 November. So, 11,000 is checked, set QNH. And then we can go vertical speed, and I'll start reducing area speed already. Speed 250. Alright, cool. So, let's see if we can actually get radar vectors here. Qatari 85 November, request radar vectors to final.
Qatari 85 November, descend altitude 4,000, turn left, heading 240 vectors for the ILS, runway 34 left, approach.
Descent altitude 4,000, left heading 240 vectors, ILS 34 left, Qatari 85 November. So, level change, and going down to 4,000. Then we can set IMCAT on top, please. And extend the center line from there. And execute.
Qatari 842, contact UAE center. On
okay, lovely.
18 decimal unit
a little bit high, no problem for the speed brake. Okay, then let's continue with our approach briefing. So we are going to fly the ILS approach 34 left, radar vectored. Let's see, what do we have? Flaps 25 is our expected landing flap setting. 139 plus 5, so 144 knots. The approach itself will be flown with flight director guidance, and we'll use maximum reverse, vacate the runway to the right, and then onto the gate. Any further questions on this? No? Lovely. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. So we've passed 10,000. Lights on, signs on.
Qatari 85 November, heavy, 12 miles from PA6. Turn right, heading 285, descend altitude 3500 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS, runway 34 left approach.
Turn right, heading 285, descend 3500, cleared ILS 34 left, Qatari 85 November. Okay, direct pace it, please.
1035.
Alright, my friends, after a little power outage, which turned my computer off, I brought ourselves back into the same approach position, and we can start our arrival preparation. So we are still cleared for the ILS approach, and from here on we can resume our flight. So let's retract that speed brake, and we still have an approach checklist open, so let's do that now. Altimeters, QNH 995, approach checklist complete. Alright, we're cleared for the ILS, the signal is looking good, approach mode is armed. So the runway is inside over there already.
Traffic.
Oh, I have no idea where that one's supposed to be. Certainly not anywhere nearby.
Qatari 85 November, contact Hamad Tower on 118.025.
118025, Qatari 85 November. So, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Hamad Tower, Qatari 85 November Heavy, ILS 34 left.
Qatari 85 November, heavy, Hamad Tower, roger.
Alright, we're nicely established on the approach. So, go around altitude. It's gonna be 3000. Alright. And that's set. Then let's dim those lights a little bit here. Everything up here is on already. Perfect. Look at this beautiful scenery here. I just can't emphasize that often enough. It just looks fantastic. Alright then, let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun. So, manual flight and flight director. So, gear down, flaps 20.
Qatari 85 November, heavy, Hamad Tower, winds 300 at 4. Runway 34 left, clear to land.
Runway 34 left, clear to land, Qatari 85 November heavy. So, flaps 25. Gear of +5 is set. Stand by for the landing checklist. Landing checklist? Landing checklist complete. Alright, that is looking pretty good. So we're nicely established, we're nicely trimmed out. I can even take my hands off the controls, as you can see. Plane keeps going where it's supposed to go. That is absolutely lovely.
Qatari 1035, winds 300 at 4, runway 34 right, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 34 right, Qatari 1035.
Oh, beautiful, smooth conditions. Look at that. Pretty much no control input at all. Just very small ones in order to ensure the airplane stays on the localizer here. That's exactly how it should be. Of course, once we're getting closer to the airport, those 20 knots of wind we see over here are going to cause turbulence as they cross over the terminals and over all those obstructions, and that is definitely going to cause us some turbulence. But until then, smooth as silk. Loving it. Man, look at the temperature down there. Plus 40 degrees.
Approaching 3-4 left.
Checked. So, you can't see it on the clock anymore, but 17 hours of flight time are soon coming to an end.
500.
Checked.
$400. Approaching minimums.
Checked.
Minimums.
Continue. Look at how nicely you can fly it. Right on the glide slope.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Spoilers, reverse green. Well, it's a Boeing. Speed brake up, thrust reverse normal. 80%. So we're not going to make this exit. Manual brakes. Alright, there was no traffic behind us on this runway, only on the parallel, so let's vacate to the right over here.
Qatari 85 November, welcome to Hamad. Contact ground on 120.225.
Captain Emmanuel, we have
120.225, Qatari 85 November.
time is now 9:23 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Doha. We have just landed at Hamad International Airport.
Right ground Qatari 85 November Heavy, request taxi to gate 221.
Do you know that Doha is known for its stunning skyline and rich cultural heritage? It's a city that beautifully blends tradition.
Beautiful
with
lights over
modernity.
here.
Thank you
Inibuilds
for
have really
flying
done that
Qatar
well.
Airways. We hope you enjoyed your journey.
Qatari 85 November, taxi to gate 221, via Lima 7, Kilo, Romeo, Alpha 6, Bravo, Quebec 2. Good day.
Qatari 85 November, taxi gate 221 via Lima 7, Kilo, Romeo, Alpha 6, Bravo, Quebec 2. Good day. Alright, we'll vacate the runway to the right hand side over here. Let's quickly clean the airplane up. And then we can risk a quick look at the taxi chart. So we've vacated over here, we're taxiing, but we're on Kilo already, then Romeo. But where's Alpha 6? Over there. Bravo. And Quebec 2, that doesn't make any sense, our gate is down here. Look at that, we're parking over here, 221. Well, we're gonna continue straight out on Kilo Lima 3 Hotel to the gate. That's probably going to be easier. Okay, so parking gate 221. No follow me needed. Beautiful night lighting. I just can't get enough of this airport at night. It's just wonderful. Inibuilds have done such a good job on it. Alright, so we go straight ahead over here, and then it's going to be the next to the left. Look at the wonderful lights on the terminal over here again. I mean, this is good, isn't it? This is just
Ground,
really
Qatari
good.
1035, taxi to parking.
Qatari 1035, taxi to parking via Alpha 9er Foxtrot Charlie.
Alpha 9er, Foxtrot Charlie, Qatari 1035.
Okay, so coming down here, so left onto Lima 3, and then to the parking. Down to 10 knots, and we had enough cooling time. Shutdown right engine. So engine shutdown right is checked and clear. Okay, so slight left-hand turn here, swing over onto Whiskey 4, and then our gate will be somewhere over there. The 200 LR is a little bit shorter than the 300s, so a little bit less oversteering required over here. Okay, the right side is clear. Start APU. Okay, so that's 222, and that's 221 over there. It's rather dark over here. I'm going to leave the taxi lights on until we're actually on the center line, which is straight ahead here. I'll cut that corner a bit, there's no one on the left. Okay, I think we can see it fine now. Yeah. Okay, B777 is on the guidance. Would of course be nice to see B77L over there to know that it's the correct type and not a 300 ER, but that looks quite okay. So a couple more meters. Stop. That is not too far, my friend. Alright, brake set, APU running, and shutdown. Cabin shoe, all doors in park. Oh, that was a nice light effect here when the power transitioned. Okay, number 1 is shutting down. So both pumps showing off. All right. So, shutdown checklist, please. Park and brake. Set. Shutdown checklist complete. So, GSX, request deboarding. Then let's go ahead and do our post-flight procedures. Well, first things first. Storm light on, so that we can actually see something inside. Alright, so ground ops, set the chocks. We can request the ground power and also the air conditioning unit. For that, the packs are gonna come off. Ground power is here, so let's turn off the APU. And then down to the door management, disarm all. I'm gonna open 1 left and 2 left because, well, we are basically we would be using both in the real world. Okay, my friends, and with that we've made it. So let's do a couple of checks here. All quantities are still okay, the hydraulics are okay, there is nothing on the status page, and with that we have made it. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope you enjoyed this flight as much as I did. It's surely a blast flying into Doha at nighttime, time and time again in the sim. You're probably gonna see more of these, to be honest. But for the time being, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you liked it as much as I did. If you liked our ATC, check out Say Intention, Say I using the link in the video description or the pinned comment below. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.